Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Monday night, 8 p.m. means only one thing. The Online Darts Live Lounge is back. Forget deadline day. That's in the ledger for the moment, no matter what your team's doing. Myself and Dan Simpson are here for the next couple of hours, taking you through all darting matters. How are we doing, buddy?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah. It's been a busy old day, because what the folks in the chat room didn't see was up until about 4 seconds left on that countdown, I was still shoveling my tea into my face, trying to get a meal into me. Yeah, it's been busy. The whole of the 6 weeks, for those that don't know, my proper job is I work in education. I'm not a teacher or anything, but the 6 weeks holidays are my busiest time of the year. And yeah, today was not an ease off of that. So yeah, it was a busy day. Busy in the house. Kids are back to school. All is a hive of excitement, and it's busy in the world of darts as well, isn't it, mate? So there's lots and lots going on. How's things down there on the in the southern area of the country? How are things going?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Weather's a bit up and down, but yeah, kids go back to school this week, thank God, and so on. So supermarkets will be less busy and so on, and things like that. But no, it's all good, mate. Chat room is Ramdell. How we doing? Mark is in. Andrew Warren, how we doing? Chris, how we doing? Did Celtic signing on in the end? I didn't see anything. Evening, BJA, hope you are good. Matthew is in. Dino, how we doing? Daniel, how do? Of course, Brazer is in. How we doing, buddy? John, good to see you in. Owen, Seamus, how we doing? From Queensland in Oz. Nice. I like that. That's
it's our global reach, isn't it, Philip?
It is. I tell you what, the streams over the weekend, we had folks in from literally all over the world. It was incredible. We had South America, North America, Oceania, Asia, Europe, you name it. We had people in.
We're only missing, if we could cover all the continents. If only we had somebody watching from Antarctica, I think we'd be all right, wouldn't we? Yeah. If we could just find that lone darts fan in the Antarctic, we'd be able to tick off all continents, I think.
Yeah, 100%. How are we doing, Anne? Good to have you in. Our guest will be joining us around 8:30. And we've got that, don't get me wrong, Sean's friend of the show, but we've got him in to talk about a Pacific thing as well as other darts issues, which we'll come on to in a little bit, because he was a teenage star, and I think he can relate to what we're going to talk about. But first of all, before we go, Anthony, the polar bear, is checking in. Great state of Texas. How we doing, my friend? Let's go to the Euro Tour first up. That's fresh in our memories. And look, don't need to go to Germany, do you? You just win everywhere else in Europe. Can Germany off, and Littler carries on winning. And it was a bit of a weird European tour. Good, but strange. A lot of names missing. Then obviously Gezi pulled out. We saw from his socials he had an infected hand and everything. It was an interesting European tour.
Yeah, it certainly was. I think there was a few. I mean, there was a few that we know were going to do very well, and they certainly did do very well. And I think there was maybe a few players in that first round that would have been looking for a win, looking to try and gain some form back that fell short again, as we've been seeing a little bit more often from them. I thought it was generally quite good. I thought that the quality of matches, just in terms of, even when the averages weren't through the roof, I thought that we were treated to some pretty entertaining darts across the board. We saw, some deep runs from players that we maybe didn't expect, which is always nice to see. In terms of a final, I've said this over and over again, and these two guys are consistently proving me right that is a final we are going to see more and more regularly. It is going to be a regular final over the course of the next few years, but it could be even longer than that with the age of the pair of them. But yeah, interesting, deep runs from James Wade and Daryl Gurney, both of which have shown, better form this year than we've seen from them of late. Just a few disappointments in the first round. I think I want to, without getting too deep into it, I think Callan Ridge we know what Callan can produce, and with him being a Northeast Darts player, like the rest of the lads from up here, I'm constantly looking out, and he's going to feel disappointed, I think, there with a
106 average and lose 6-3. That's arguably the best we've seen him play on the European tour.
Yeah, it's and those moments of, because we know he's got that game in him, but him being able to find that level has been so inconsistent and irregular of late, probably since back when we saw that really deep run at the match play a few years ago. And it was like, firstly, brilliant to see him hitting that level, but it stung a little bit, I think, for fans of players from the Northeast that he went out. But all credit to Daryl Gurney, who had a really, really good weekend. Worth a little note to Leon Webber, who managed to move past Jermaine Wattimena and Dave Chisnell. Arguably the two biggest wins of Leon Webber's career. I think that would be in any question. Really good performance from him. But yeah, I thought it was a very entertaining weekend. Some really good darts. We saw Littler again. Ryan. So we talked about Callan Ridge posting a huge average and losing 6-3. Ryan Searle the same in that third round to Luke Littler again. Just finding, like we've seen lately, it seems that every time he turns up at a tournament, he's got something over 110 in him, and he's producing it with regularity at the minute. It's frightening.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing, and I will come to Van Veen in a minute. I'll tell you one thing I didn't have on my 2025 bingo card was Mensur Suljovic turning up in a time machine, pretending it's 2015-16 again, smashing in 100 averages and winning games on the European tour, and Mensur Mania's running wild again.
Yeah, and even when he went out to Luke Woodhouse, he was still averaging over 100 and forced the deciding legs. Even when he did finally get defeated, he didn't have a stinker. That game was there and that game was consistent. It was. I think there'll be a couple. He's one that of the players starting in round one that was looking for some form. Maybe had a bit of fortune in the draw, that he hasn't seen the best of the players that he's played. I think a couple of concerns in that again, and again with the greatest of respect to their opponents. I think Michael Smith's going to be disappointed with the first round loss, averaging 87. Cam Menzies as well, whilst averaging well. So, it's another first round loss for Cam Menzies, who's struggled for form lately. Mixed bag, but again, we saw a few rogue runs and we saw some upsets in the opening round as well. But yeah, good, really solid, I thought.
Yeah, how are you doing, Stuart? Good to have you in, buddy. Hope you are well. Whereabouts in the globe are you at the moment? Yeah, look, Van Veen has played again really well. He didn't play particularly well on the Pro Tour, and I just think that he went away on his socials. I think he went to Japan on holiday, and my guess is that he hasn't played a lot of darts during that period in the Pro Tour. So yes, there was a bit of rust, but he's had a really good run here. I wouldn't say he was brilliant. I'd say he was very consistent here, apart from the James Wade game, which was a bit strange. But the others, he's won with 95 and 97, which is solid. And look, I think he's going to be a big danger in the back end of the year.
Oh, without a doubt. He's turned up and he's played well. If I'm honest, I sort of picked him to win, but I expected him to win both of those games. I know that Michael comes in as the number 2 seed, but I did expect Jan Van Veen to win both of those matches, and he didn't do it in huge dramatic fashion, but it turned up, professional performance, mid-90s averages, did well, did a job, but I completely agree. Towards the back end of the year, I think we're going to see more and more and more of him on a stage and on a TV. He's very much someone that I think is going to be a very solid part of that top 16, arguably top 10 of darts players for again, because of his age, the foreseeable future.
Yeah, and I tell you, hello to the Littler household is in. Anthony, how are we doing, my friend? Yeah, look, Luke almost didn't play. We saw from his Instagram story that emergency dentist appointment, had the old tooth cracked out. and so on. And then rocks up and wins the Euro Tour. Is there anything the kid can't do?
Well, it seems not. It doesn't. If there is, we haven't found it yet. Certainly not with a dart in his hand. There might be some other things that he needs to book his ideas up on, but I don't think he's. I certainly don't think with a dart in his hand he's got any problems at all.
Yeah, and like you say, just don't worry about the German events. Just go and win the other 6 or 7 that aren't in Germany.
Yeah, this is it. It remains highly impressive, and it's difficult. I often feel, and it is difficult. I promise, folks, for those of us that talk on platforms like this, to continue to talk about Luke Littler, because you do feel that you are continuing to repeat yourself, because he just consistently turns up and does things like that, and he does it with enough regularity that it is hard to find different ways of describing how good he is and how well he performs, and turning up and it's a combination of the right things at the right time, and sometimes even when he doesn't have to, he'll just turn up and, like I say, banging 110, banging 115 the other week. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I tell you what. How we doing, Gob? Good to have you in, buddy.
There he is.
He's back home now, shall we say? Glad that everyone
back in Nottingham,
back in Notts, which is cool. Right, going back into the European tour, the bits and bobs we saw. Now, I don't know how much you saw darts wise this weekend. Were you flicking in and out, or did you watch much of it?
I'm afraid not, mate. No, so my weekend was spent. So my eldest, Gabby, my daughter, starts college tomorrow, and I had promised her a shopping trip to Liverpool to buy clothes for college. So I got absolutely rinsed all weekend with both my teenage daughter and wife walking around women's clothes shops in Liverpool. I'm skint now. I spent a bloody fortune.
Was it open wallet surgery?
Yeah. Oh man, I didn't even have hold of it by the end of Saturday. By Saturday afternoon, I didn't even have hold of it. Mrs. S was deep into the joint account, and I'd lost track altogether.
I'm going to pick up on MVG a minute, because on the Pro Tour and the Euro Tour, I've seen some encouraging signs that, look, results aren't there yet and averages and performances aren't there. But I remember looking back when Michael was really in a hole, we all commented on here that the throw was horrific. Shoulder, no rhythm, all over the place. Now, there were good signs on the Pro Tour, and there was good signs in this Van Veen game as well. So the last 3 legs, Michael had a dart at an end of a combination to win all 3 legs. Now, in the past, those darts would have been pushed and pulled high, low, and all over the place, but no rhythm. But on each of them, the rhythm didn't change for any of the 3 darts on the combo, and they were close. They were in the vicinity. You could go, that's a well-thrown dart.
Yeah, it's a good.
Although he's lost, I'm starting to see the work that Vincent has been doing with him and so on, that mechanically the throw looks so much better. Now it's a case of you have to build confidence and you have to win games. But I'm encouraged that 2 tournaments in a row, the action has looked solid. I'm not going to say it's back to the action it was, because he's already said it can never be that way. But in terms of the fluency to the action, there were encouraging signs.
Is it hurting him, do you think? Because there obviously is a lot of work going on, let's say, off the hockey, off the stage, away from the cameras.
Yeah.
Do you think it's hindering him at all, that because that isn't necessarily translating to victories, a lot of his visits to these tournaments, the time he's actually getting to put that work into practice on a stage in a competitive situation, because he's not getting over the line in these games, do you think that's holding him back, the development, and slowing that return to a little bit? It's
quite possibly 100%, because, like you say, it's not translating to wins. So he's only getting 1 game at the moment. That has to start correlating into victories.
And for a player like him, winning in competitive matches on a stage is so key to who and what he is as a dart player that
correct.
You can do all the work in the back room. You can do every bit of training and coaching and practicing and everything like that. But he thrives off that competition on stage, doesn't he? And I think it's just slowing and stalling the development of the new throw and that re-establishing himself is stalling a little bit just because it's not able, and he's not getting enough time and enough legs to really develop it in a competitive situation.
Yeah, I disagree. Beginning of 2020 was fine. He won the UK Open with a tournament average of about 108. We're not saying he's back. I'm saying mechanically, I've seen enough to go, hang on a minute. He is putting in work behind the scenes, because you hear so often players say, yeah, I'm working really hard, I'm doing this and doing that. And half the time it's a load of bollocks. They're not.
Yeah, and you don't actually see anything different, do you? You're seeing the same bobbins you've seen for 5 tournaments in a row.
From where the throw was in the Premier League, and the throw was in bits in the Premier League, let's have it right, it was horrific. Let's not sugarcoat it. It was the worst the MVG throw has ever looked in that Premier League.
Correct.
But from there to where we are now, you can see that behind the scenes, he is putting work in, which is encouraging, is what we're saying. And look, over the back end of this year, he has to play more. We've said for a few years he hasn't played enough. He's skipped too many tournaments. He's not the only one in that bracket. But he has to continue to work at it. And if that rhythm and that throw continues, is he going to win titles again? Yes. Will he win another world championship? We don't know. But there are enough signs that Michael's always been about rhythm, that if he can replicate that, look at Luke. Luke's rhythm to his throw is unreal. Yep. And that's why he's one of the biggest scorers it is, because Dart 1 follows Dart 2, Dart 3, and so on. The rhythm is there. Michael Smith at his best, rhythm. Gary Anderson, rhythm. All the best players we've seen recently, it's all about that rhythm and replication. And if he can do that, will he challenge? I think so. But that's down to him to continue this work.
Do you think that this, because we have, let's be honest, we've been talking about we've always talked about MVG because of who he is and what he's done. But we've been talking about him in this way for 3, 4, 5 years now. How important do you think? Because let's be honest, and I know, I don't want to drag us into a Premier League discussion, Christ, but it is so important to a lot of these players, and the prestige of being at the top of the game is so important to Michael. But do you think that this, this back end of this year, this second half of the season, if you will, is the most important that we've seen, for 3 or 4 years, 5 years? Because do you think this is the first time where really he might be at risk if he picks up nothing in the next 6 months?
No, he'll still be in the Premier League.
You think? Even 100%. if he wins nothing between now and February, you think he's still in?
100%.
Wow.
No danger there whatsoever.
I don't know if I like that or not. I don't know how I feel about that.
No, I genuinely think he is in absolutely no danger of not being selected for the Premier League.
Fair.
I'll call it now.
Fair enough.
Actually,
I believe you, mate. Don't believe that. Don't
I'd go as far to say I think he could lose first round of every TV tournament and still get picked for the Premier League.
That could happen,
That
could happen. That's people will think you're joking, but that could happen.
Yeah. I think he could lose first round of every TV tournament and still get picked. Off this European tour as well, as we're kind of talking about this, has Josh Rock again just put another great big nail in that coffin that he's getting picked?
Again, I think I don't even think he has to do much wrong between now and then. I think I think he has to make sure that if he doesn't win a pot between now and the Premier League selections, then some other people have got to win some pretty significant ones and really put themselves in. I don't really think it's even his to lose. I think somebody's got to step up because, so he's not going to make the top 4, I don't think. I think the top 4 is going to be decided. So let's say you got 4 more picks. Well, if Michael's not in the top 4, you're pretty solid on that. That leaves 3, and that is going to be the challenge. Is if 3 other people can tot up a more attractive offering of themselves to the PDC between now and then. And I think there's an awful lot of darts to be played between now and then. There's an awful lot of things that people can do. A lot of pots people can get their hands on. A lot of upsets people can cause. But he's certainly in there. If you had to pick it today, he's in.
Yeah,
I think I think if they had to pick it today and he wasn't in, I don't know how you would go about justifying certainly what I would imagine some of the other picks to be ahead of him, because there's definitely a couple in there that you're going to struggle. There's definitely a couple of what we would think of as established Premier League players that you are going to struggle to make a coherent case that they're more deserving than Josh Rock.
Gob says, at what point does Michael say no to the Premier League? I don't think he does.
Wow, he's got a fucking divorce to pay for, hasn't he? I think his accountant will be giving him very strong advice to not.
I don't think he does. Also, Anthony was in Ibar in Spain last week, and there was a bar called the Live Lounge. So we will have to look at doing a live lounge from the Live Lounge. I think international travel.
I'm particularly interested in that because there was an all-you-can-eat Chinese over the road from it that served that wasn't a buffet. It was an all-you-can-eat Chinese that had a menu, and they just kept fetching it out what you ordered. And I'm keen to give that a bit of a whirl. So
we've got one of them round here.
Is this thing that's just never reached the northeast? Is this one of those things that you'll be telling me you've got broadband next?
I'll send you a picture because when you come down to do the live lounge from here, we can potentially go and get some scratch.
Yeah, we could go and get some bait from over there. Yeah. We could have a bit of a Chinese. Yeah, we've got a couple of. I was going to say, I'm intending to be south of Leeds several times over the course of the next few months as well for a bit of this. So yeah, that would be good fun.
Aspinall in that's a good one. I think Aspinall has to be in the top 16 come the end of the World Championship to be in contention. I think if he's outside that top 16, it's a very hard sell to put him in over people that are in the top 16.
See, I just think the only thing I think with that is, and we know he has because he can find something and he can dig
100%.
If he wins a pot, he's in. And I don't think it matters what pot it is. I think they love having him in there, and I think it's especially because of the way that he ground his way through the tournament last year, and the Manchester night win. I think that he didn't disgrace himself at all in the Premier League, whilst the general ranked darts has not gone his way. I think if he puts his hand on any pot at all between now and then, it's very easy to point at it and say, "Wow, well, he's holding that tournament," especially while the importance of which trophy is more important than another remains such a blurry area. All of a sudden, a pot won by Nathan Aspinall could be considered pretty bloody significant.
Yeah. Henry is in. H, how you doing, buddy? Good to have you in. Nicholas says, will Wade be in the Premier League? I think James is one of those ones that is in the talking point for arguably the final spot or final 2 spots. I think I don't know if he'll get the nod, but I certainly think he is one of the 3 or 4 players that we are talking about for those final spots.
Again, if you made the list today, I don't know how you can't put him in. You would have to just admit it and say it's a personal issue. Like, you'd have to. I think if you didn't include him, you would have to literally just say, we have made a commercial and personal decision to not include James Wade. Because I think other than that, I think he has done more than any other player outside of Luke Littler and Luke Humphreys to warrant a pick in the Premier League. And I still think, because I was in, like you were, and I spent a little bit more time than you probably in the room at the match play, you know, in the ballroom when people were walking on and watching the atmosphere and the crowd and things like that. Is I still believe that there is a very, very large amount of darts fans that enjoy watching James Wade play. And I do think that he would get a reaction, a positive reaction, in some of the big arenas, especially depending on who was playing. You know, I think, you know, I do think at the minute, and in recent, people go, you know, I've gone one way or the other with James. And, you know, I know there are people that aren't huge fans of his, but I think there are also people who are very big fans of his. And you still see James Wade fans at PDC events. You still see people wearing his shirts, even though I still find it very bizarre that the button-up shirt isn't commercially available. We have to get some sort of pullover replica, which I'm not a fan of. But I think if you make the list today, I cannot see how you can't include him. It looks dodgy if you don't.
I'm going off the tour card race here. So if we are saying if it's picking now, are you leaving out Nathan Aspinall? Because obviously the top four in the world would be Luke and Luke, Michael third, Stephen Bunting fourth. Although Johnny Clayton 5, James Wade 6 are within striking distance of getting into the top four, but I don't think that matters. I think even if Bunting drops out the top four, he would still get another shot this year. So,
yeah, I think. I mean, I think based on what we're going to see in the next few months with my crystal ball out, I think the top four come the end of the year will be that Clayton and Wade, Skip, MVG and Bunting. I think MVG and Bunting still get selected. And I think that leaves 2 spots. And one of them is Josh Rock.
And then, let's be fair, you're not, I know Gezi is currently 15, you're not leaving Gerwin Price out.
And there's your 8.
You're just not leaving Gerwin Price out. Even if he stays in that spot of 15, which I don't think he will, by the way. I think he picks up a pot. And I think he picks up one of the big pots as well. But even
if you take it there, there's your 8. I think if you were picking now, I think there's your 8.
But say he didn't, I still think he gets in 15th.
Yeah, I agree. I think Gezi's there no matter what. I think Gezi's there. You know, and I get this idea, and I know I think I seem to recall it'll have been an interview that you did with Matt, where and I understand why they wouldn't want this. I think what the PDC don't want to do is like wholesale change of the lineup. You won't see 4 new players. And when I say new, I don't even mean new to the Premier League that haven't played it before. I mean you won't see 4 players that didn't play last year. Like I think realistically they swap out 2. That's where we're at.
I agree.
I don't think they want wholesale change. I think they want, because again, I still think that, and it's a lot of the purists and a lot of the people that are in the chat room won't like it, and I understand it, but they are what I consider to be proper darts fans. Like that's who comes. Otherwise, why else are you spending Monday nights like this if you're not a proper darts fan? But a lot of the fans that turn up to Premier League events, they're not really proper darts fans. And they want names that they've heard of, and they want people they've seen on the telly, and they want people who do a good walk on that they can sing along to their songs. And that's why I think there will be a reluctance to change out any more than 2, because you want your people, or the PDC, rightly or wrongly, will want those people that, you know, the huge crowd in Manchester see once a year and cheer for. They'll want them to recognize most of these players. And they won't know where people are. They won't know where Gezi Price is ranked in the world, whether he's ranked 3rd or 15th. Not when they turn up to Manchester for the Premier League and it's the only time they watch darts in the year. It's their night out watching the darts, and they don't know where anybody's ranking is. They know the Lukes are very good, and they know they're at the top. But beyond that, I think the Premier League isn't for the darts purist, is it? It's not for the fans that we have in the chat room who are mad enough on darts to spend their Monday nights doing this.
So that's good timing though, because our guest has arrived. So let me do this. And as if by magic, Shaun Mac is here. Shaun, how are we doing, buddy?
Good evening. Testing. Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Good stuff. How are you, gents?
All good, mate. All good. Yeah. Now, there's a reason we've got Shaun Mac on today. Not only is he a damn good dart player, part-time dart player now though. We say tongue in cheek, but Shaun had a glittering youth career, winning the prestigious World Masters Youth in 2002.
Yeah, long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. But that trophy, the names that are synonymous that have won that and gone on to have glittering careers. I know you've got a glittering career elsewhere, but it's interesting that obviously you've had this great youth career, and then we're now going and looking at the youth career of today and the difference of the two. So I thought it was quite topical to get you on, and we can talk about the massive differences in it.
Yeah, but very, very different. I don't know where you want to go with it, where you want to start, but from opportunities to where I played compared to where you can play today, the amount of times the youth play each other, right through to the sponsorship or pressure or whatever you want to go with it, Phil. Yeah, it's very different today.
Well, I think the pressures are one to topic about, because is darts almost going down the football route of pressure on these kids? Because I look around now, whether it's in vaults or on TV streams or whatever, the amount of kids that seem to be developing dartitis in this current day and age, for me, that comes down to the pressure that is on these kids, because it was almost unheard of before. I get that more people are playing and it's more in the public eye, but do you think it's a pressure thing? And is darts this system going very much like football?
It's a very interesting topic, to be fair. I guess the thing with darts being so mental, and when you are young, you can see why that is happening. I would say, I think football I can relate to as well. I've got two boys, both in and around the Aberdeen Football Club Academy, and the pressure that they're put under very young through a natural selection process is quite severe. In darts, that's a bit different, where darts is an individual sport. So, is there more pressure on the individual themselves? Probably. I guess it all goes back to, is there external pressure as well? Parenting comes into this big time. When kids get these lucrative contracts early on, that must have a part as well. A kid maybe not playing as freely as they would without a contract, but then the other side of that is look at the opportunity you get. So I don't know. It's a really, really interesting one, and one that I would say is quite difficult to manage all around. But I think there's certainly a gap, or appears to be a gap, where kids could be done with more support, especially the ones that get exposed early. I think there's definitely an argument to say the darting world could perhaps create something and do more to support them.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I know you work in schools as well, down in education thing, where we see obviously the dream of being a footballer is chase because of the goal at the end of it and the riches that go with it. But that is now there in darts as well, that you can earn a fabulous living being a dart player as well. So it just from the outside looking in, it feels like that's like the carrot that's being dangled as well, that you can do this in darts like you can in football?
I think it is, but I think there's a bit of I think in darts, and I know obviously Shaun played youth darts in a very different system to what's there now and what's available for the kids there. I think with football, I think whilst there are lots of kids that go through that academy system, there is almost I think there's some unwritten rules in that the academy sort of have a very good idea who's going to make. If they know someone's going to make it, they know very early, and those players will get a lot of focus. And a lot has been done in football to pick up those that don't, and almost rescue them not into either other opportunities or where they have. Some of them have come out of school, not done their exams, gone and done other things, but I think football benefits from having an established governing body and because they're a governing body, that they have to act, or they are bound to act in the best interest of the players. And I think darts lacks that. And I don't know if I think almost everyone we speak to agrees that there needs to be more, but it's very difficult to come up with where it could come from and how it could be coordinated and how it would be put there.
Yeah, I think that opportunity is potentially easier to manage now. If I think back to my day, Dan, all my youth darts was played in social clubs and pubs when you were old enough to get in. So although there was a lot less youth darts back then, it's quite difficult to support the kids. Really, you were relying on whoever was maybe managing that team, or definitely your parents. And up here, I was fortunate that the committees around me were that way minded. But today, the kids are playing a lot together. They're playing in their own tours. So if you're bringing them all together more often, it must create more opportunities to support them more. And remember, just the same in adult darts, same as kids darts. You turn up, you got half of the field going out in the first round, and kids will take defeats way worse than adults. Yeah. So, I know a lot of youths that they play a lot of group matches, groups, which is great. A lot of double knockouts, which is great. But ultimately, when they get beat, they feel it, and perhaps that's a way to look at it. Maybe get some support around the ones that are struggling and losing more often than winning. What could we do to help them, at these events?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, and it's the same thing. That is there a bit of a duty of care for manufacturers as well, because we speak about Luke Littler a lot because look, why wouldn't you? What he's done is incredible, but now it seems that with this boom we've got, is manufacturers are looking for the next Luke Littler, and they're just hoovering up youngsters all over the place. Is that a good thing, or again, does that need to be regulated and managed better?
I think I think it is a good thing. There's pros and cons with everything, isn't there, Phil? If I think back to my time, I think I would have been a better player had I had more opportunity. And these manufacturers are providing opportunity by way of, whether it's depends on what type of contract they sign, right? But they could be subsidizing some events. They're definitely providing all of their equipment and practicing equipment for free. I think that's the thing, isn't it? With more opportunity comes more pressure. But could they do more? I don't know exactly. I only know my only experiences from Mission, who were very, very good around the youth players. I'm sure others are. But how much they are doing, how much they can do, I'm not quite sure. But in terms of opportunity, I think it's definitely a good thing. And certainly the youth players who, let's go a step away from the manufacturers, let's go into management. How much support is out there from that side of it? The youth players that are lucky enough to pick up a management contract, again, it's another level of support, of investment, but it's another level of pressure then. So, what goes on there. I don't know. I don't have the answers, but it's certainly if my children were in that environment, I'd be leaning on the managers of those companies to make sure they're okay.
It's different pressure, I think, as well, isn't it? I mean, like the vast majority of darts players, certainly youth darts players, I think this isn't cricket and rugby. The vast majority don't come from affluent backgrounds. We don't generally see loads of top end dart players that have been to private school. It's not the demographic that we generally see make it. Mm-hmm. And I think when you have got, because generally it's parents, I have 3 kids, parents making sacrifices to travel and putting fuel in their car and booking hotel rooms and funding this venture for their child, potential future for their child. I think that can put a lot of pressure on a child because it's in the household every day. They can see the sacrifices that their parents are having to make. And I think you make a point there where if you get a management company or a manufacturer that can shoulder some of that burden, whether it's financially, whether it's just that because they've got a number of players in an area, they can pick them up and give them lifts and that sort of thing, then you can, yes, I understand there's you can say, well, there's still pressure on them. They've got a management company and they expect results. I think it's a different pressure to the pressure that you can't escape from, which is the pressure in your household, isn't it? You can't get away from that. So I think there's an argument where that could be a really positive effect on some kids in some scenarios.
Yeah, I think that's where the academies are coming into their own, aren't they? There are more and more of them popping up, and they're providing a really safe space for those kids to go in and practice together, which you can't beat. The more that they play each other, the more they're going to push each other on. And then if they're going in and they're feeling like they're playing with their mates a bit, then they'll probably be more relaxed. So the more local academies that can come up, I think is one positive definitely that can help.
Would you have liked to have played your youth darts in this system, or did you look happy with the one that you played in?
There's 2 sides to that, Phil. I think one from a complete performance point of view, trying to maximize everything I perhaps had in my talent, definitely today. But how my upbringing kind of shaped me as a person in and about adults quite early on is probably why I was, so mature as a youngster. Spending all the summer break in a golf club playing golf pool darts against everyone that came in and around. That was kind of shaped me as a person. So difficult one to answer. But from a performance point of view, no doubt that I would have had a better chance of getting making further than I did if I had the opportunities that are available today. Yeah.
You spoke about your boys obviously going down the football route. Have they picked up darts? Have they seen Dad play and go, fancy a bit of that?
They both got talent. They play more in winter, not so much summer. They've always got a ball at their feet, but there is a board up. It does get used. Yeah. So I haven't been beat yet, but I'm sure it'll come.
Obviously, yourself darts wise, and I get know that obviously we speak and it gets taken up by the family and the kids and the football, and that is darts something that now that you're content with just being there if you want to pick them up, or once the kids are old enough, is it something that you'll go back to?
I think it's one that's the beauty, is it? That's why we love the game. You look at the World Championship and you can have a 16-year-old playing a 60-year-old. Unfortunately, right now I've got no time for it. Both my boys are doing really, really well, and my hobby is watching them at the moment. So, and I'm loving it. To be fair, I do miss it. Do miss the game. So I don't know. We might. I'm getting older. The seniors going down is a bit of a blow. Kind of looking at that in a few years. But no, we'll see. We'll see. Definitely not just now, though.
The fact that you've almost done one comeback already, does that give you the confidence that you can do it again? Because I remember you didn't play for ages, come back and almost won your tour card but then went on to set records at Modus or the Live League as it was at the time, then and go on and win titles, play at Lakeside. So you've done the comeback once. Does that give you the mental strength to say, I know I can do it again?
Don't know. You've known me long enough. There's just take it as it comes. I don't know. I obviously did enjoy. I wouldn't go so under the radar so much this time. No one had a clue who I was. Whereas, everyone would just go, Sean's back playing. Don't know.
But it doesn't sound like Sean, like there's a burning sense of unfinished business that comes out. It doesn't sound like you feel that if you're like there's something desperate that you either should have achieved that you have to go and claw back and recapture. It does feel like you're quite laid back about it.
I always was, Daniel. Phil will tell you, even when I was doing well and it was just, I'm here for a game of darts, it wasn't I was never trying to achieve anything particular. I never set myself any goals. I was just enjoying it as a hobby. It's probably the difference with others, and especially the youngsters. The youngsters are probably looking, going, Luke Littler's, he's changed the game. So they're now looking at that with a real appetite and a real target. And while we're talking about youngsters looking to achieve something in the game, we got to mention Mitchell Laurie winning the Welsh yesterday, men's 14 from up here. So again, another youngster doing so well, and the more and more of them that come through, the better. I think the platform they're all playing on and how much opportunity you've got, I think the game is going to become younger and younger. Players are going to peak a lot earlier than what we're used to seeing when, players used to peak in the 30s and 40s, didn't they? That's not going to be the case anymore. I think they're going to peak a lot earlier, and you're going to see a younger and younger stage to it, I think.
Well, you kind of just beat me to it there. At the top level, do you think this is a real changing of the guard then, that the tour and what we see on TV is just going to get younger and younger and younger, and the older generation are just going to dwindle away?
Mm-hmm. I think so. I think when Gezi kind of hit the top, he changed the game from probably a physique point of view and how it looked on the telly. Now Luke's kind of changing it from a youth perspective. All these changes kind of help and promotes the game in different ways. And I think the more youngsters that come, they play with no fear, right? So the more youngsters that go up there and the more shocks that happen, I think that only grows the game further.
Do you think as that happens, and I think everyone sort of agrees, if you like, the average age of the Pro Tour, we're going to continue to see it come down as younger and younger players make it their career. Do you think because a lot of those players are going to start to come from academy setups and the academies working their way that they are, do you think we're going to see more and more and a bigger growth in coaching within darts? Obviously, when you've got kids in sport that do other sports, coaching is massive, and there's a lot. It can really make the difference between whether or not a player gets to this level or that level. It is the level of talent that they get from a coach. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen loads of it traditionally. We've seen dart players work often among each other and among friends who give each other pointers and work on little things. Mm-hmm. Do you think as darts professionalizes more and we get that younger batch of players from that academy structure, that we'll see more professional coaches within darts?
Yeah, that might well happen. I think when you think of, like, I was away to say there that the problem with darts is there's nothing guaranteed. It's all prize money related, but then so is tennis. And tennis, obviously, most pros, even outside the top 200, have got a coach of some description.
Yeah.
So I guess the money needs to keep growing for that to happen, right? Because even if you think, if you're 32nd in the world, which is a very good ranking, are you making enough to employ a coach? I don't know. That might be seen a step far, because with a 2-year rolling ranking as well, if you're 32nd in the world, you're probably thinking, I need to keep playing well. I don't want to drop into that 48 and then tour cards at risk. So, there's a bit of risk there. Is there enough funding for that? I don't know. But if it keeps growing, Dan, it's a good point that might become a thing. And then it depends if it gets catchy. If Luke Littler hired a coach the week before he win the Worlds, everyone would have a coach right now, right?
Yeah, correct.
But yeah, it just depends.
An interesting point that you said there about if Luke did it. Obviously, when your boys started playing, did they play because Dad played, or are they part of the Luke Littler boom?
They played because I played, but then they mentioned Luke more than Dad. 100%. Yeah.
No, it was interesting to see. And just going back to your own career, I was just looking at some of the names that are on that Masters trophy that you won.
Mm-hmm.
You must look and go, hang on a minute, I'm in some good company here with the names that have won that prestigious tournament.
Yeah, no, definitely. The thing about that tournament is, I think it's worth more, with all due respect to the tournaments that are out there today. It's worth more than the world titles today because it was the only one. It was only one a year. It wasn't different variations of World Youth. It was one World Masters that you had to qualify for through your country. So it was like everything in that week. It was really, really difficult. So no, it was a proud moment, and still is when you look back. And a lot of good players, like you say, won it. A lot of players went on to become top players. And yeah, I guess some of them were better than me. That's why they've ended up where they are. Obviously, the year before, when Stephen Bunting won it, I lost in the quarters to who Stephen beat in the final.
Jose Rodriguez.
Yeah, and I've never come across him again. Yeah, he was slower than me. Kid you not.
But mind you, like you say, up where you are in Aberdeen, you've got a good school up there, so to speak. Some of the pros that obviously we all know about, but underneath that, there is a huge amount of talent in Scotland in general. So the grounding that you got as a kid must have been incredible.
Yeah, we had a good youth committee up here that kept us playing as much as they could, but it was still all in pubs, And a lot of the under-18, under-21 winners of the national tournaments kind of started to come from up here as well. A lot of current Scotland teams from here. So yeah, I think that does help. But definitely, when you've got others to play at a similar standard, that obviously pushes the whole area up. But that it's not really. There's a couple of academies trying to kick off here. I think there's one I think it's out by Bankery. I don't know how it's getting on, but that try to kick off as well. That's probably what's lacking here. Just a really good academy to take the kids to the next level.
Well, I promise we haven't scripted this, but I was going to say to you that look, the history that Scotland has in darts is just like world class, from Jockey to Peter to Gary and so on. But Peter and Gary are coming to the end of their careers. Suits, no spring chicken. Obviously, Cammy is playing really well. But where, like you said there, where's the next wave of Scottish stars coming from then if there isn't this infrastructure in place?
Yeah, well, that's if the infrastructure doesn't come in, we're going to fall behind. We've probably been falling behind for a while, let's be honest. We used to be littered with top players, becoming less and less. But just at that kind of underneath the very top players, there are a few, obviously a few from down Edinburgh way that won their tour cards most recently with Darren and Greg and Jamie before them. And obviously Scott Campbell's doing very well at the minute. And if he would just listen to him and focus on himself and not and not Team Darts, he would do far better. Hope you're watching, Scott. But yeah, there is that gap. I think there's definitely room for Scottish players to burst through. Mitchell's obviously showing signs at such a young age. There are a few. I think the Scotland youth team have done quite well in recent times as well. So maybe we are going to get a burst fairly soon. But if we don't have top class academies, we'll fall behind because other countries do.
Before we let you go, I would like your top 3 Scottish greats of all time in order, because we often talk about it a lot. Who places who where? As a proud Scotsman, who are you placing 1, 2, and 3?
I'll take my local bias off for a start. That number one for me would be Jockey, which shows my age. Just I think he, while the way to look at it, I think, is if Jockey played today, how good would he have been? If he had all the opportunity that's available today. Obviously Gary, most will put Gary 1, I would have thought, but I'm going to put him 2. The next time he sees me, he'll probably give me a beating for that. And number 3, I would say Peter's the obvious one, isn't he, for what he did? But for me personally, staying up late at night to watch the Lakeside highlights at 2 a.m. back then, and that's all you had. And I was watching Bob Taylor play on Lakeside. He was massive for this area, so I'll throw Bob in number 3.
I like that.
Yeah, good set. Good set.
Have you been confirmed for the Aberdeen exhibition yet this year?
No, I'm not playing at all, Phil. I wouldn't. There's people that deserve that opportunity more than me at the moment. So unfortunately, they're in the drawer. But when I say the boys are in the academy, they're properly 6 days a week between the two of them. So
so I'm coming up for it again. That was all. So I was going to see if
I'll come to it. I'll come and see you and come and watch the darts. But unfortunately, I won't be playing. No.
Well, fingers crossed, everyone. But sometimes Shaun does venture to the south of the country, and we're going to try and get him in the studio when he is down this way for work, because it's not a million miles from where he works. So we are going to try and get him in to throw a couple in here and really test him out. But Shawnee Mac, it's a massive pleasure to have you on, mate. Just talking about that career and how the two differ, mate. So thank you very much. I know you rushed in from training tonight to join us, buddy. So thank you very much as always.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
No, guys, back, everyone.
Yeah.
Need to make some longer ones of them, Phil. You're not even giving me time to run through a wheel. You need some longer. Ad breaks. We need.
I tell you what, I really enjoyed that, the comparison and so on.
Yeah, good job. Another good job for you. You continue to deliver on the guest front. It's you're on a good streak at the minute with booking these guests. We haven't had a stinker for ages. It's that was a cracker. Yeah, well done.
All right so far. But no, pleasure talking to Shawnee Mac as always. Right, let's kind of go back to where we were. We talked on the Euro Tour, but it's a massive period coming up now in terms of the race for the World Grand Prix and the race for Dortmund, that there isn't much time left. Now, the World Grand Prix is the first one that is coming up. When is the cutoff? Is the 28th
of September.
So the players have got left in the locker. They've got a European tour this weekend. They've got 2 Pro Tours and then 2 more. So there's 3 European tours and 2 Pro Tours to qualify for the World Grand Prix. there are some big names that are outside at the moment.
There are some very big names on the outside, and there's some maybe not so big names on the inside who aren't playing particularly well either. So,
Correct.
like, I think that whereas we talked about the match play qualification a lot, and I was right to be in the end. I think it's rare I get it right, but it was that remained fairly stagnant for quite some time, didn't it? We didn't see a lot of movement in and out of the match play qualification as we got closer and closer. I think that we're going to see somewhat more shuffling around the bottom end of the World Grand Prix race. I think there are some big names outside who are finding some form, and that historically can turn up and do things in Euro tours. Ricardo Petresco, just less than $4,000 outside. Joe Cullen, around $4,000. William O'Connor within a couple of thousand. There's some very, very talented players that are sitting just outside. And when you start to look inside that qualification there, I'm talking about the Pro Tour order of merit side, Ratajski, Zonneveld, Raymond van Barneveld, these are players that we haven't seen them consistently winning matches and picking money up of late. So I think we're going to see a little bit of shuffling around with this over the next few weeks.
Well, again, the other one as well is, can Schindler and Van Veen catch Chisnell and Wright? Because let's be fair, neither of those two are in particularly good form right now. And the fact that there is 3 Euro tours available, that gap could be reeled in. So in terms of, I think Noppert's safe as a seed. I think the two that you could catch is Wright and Chisnell.
Correct. Yeah, I would tend to agree, because again, you'd need 3. You need 3 from that chasing pack to overtake, to get to Wright as well. So I don't think we're going to see that much chopping around on that side. But yeah, I do agree with you, mate, that I think Peter Wright and Dave Chisnell, I am not happy to mark them as safe yet.
Now, if one of them or both are to be caught, Dave Chisnell would still qualify, because at the moment he would fall into place 14 on the other side of the bracket. However,
he could get caught on both sides.
Correct. and also, Peter Wright, if he is caught, is not in the green on the other side.
And this could be where that pendulum, the decline. I've got it. It sounds like a harsh word to use, the decline of Peter Wright. That sounds very final, and it's probably not fair. But I haven't got another word to hand, and this is live. But the decline of Peter Wright, we have long questioned when we would see him start to stop qualifying for things, because a lot of the time we started off talking about him not being in contention to win things. Then we started talking about how he wasn't going to be going deep in tournaments anymore. And we've now reached that tipping point where we're starting to seriously discuss whether he'll even be there or not. And that is not a good thing, but it feels inevitable, doesn't it? It feels like it's been a progressive, we did go through a point where we were starting to get alarmed that we didn't think Peter Wright was going to start picking up trophies, and then we were starting to say, do you know what? I can't even pick him for a quarter final here. I don't think he's going to get deep, and now we are at that point where we're rumming an iron, and you're having to try and do complex maths and look for miracles, really, to try and actually see him at an event. I don't think he's going to get there, mate.
Well, the race for Dortmund is even more of a mess in terms of the names outside. Look, Peter Wright at the moment is in green for Dortmund, but he's only 25th out of 32. So again, not that much margin for error. But again, currently outside of the places for Dortmund, Jermaine Wattimena, Joe Cullen, Michael Smith, Matt Campbell, William O'Connor, Mickey Mansell, Rob Cross, Kim Hybrex, Mensur Sulovic, Ian White, Callum Ridds, Dimitri van den Berg has only earned £4,000 on the Euro Tour this year. The list is big.
It is, and as we know, we've talked the Euro Tour a lot. It's hard to pick big money up when you're sat outside of that, because we know the top 16 are going to get some protection. We know that you're going to have to play one of the big boys before you pick up any money that's going to have an impact on that at all. And these are going to become harder and harder matches. And we have seen, we saw it last week where the likes of those players who are sat outside, Michael Smith, for example, because he's on both screens at the minute. Michael Smith, he's not qualifying at the minute for the European Championships, but he's also not seeded as well. He's going to keep having to upset one of the top 16 players in the world just to start trying to break down that qualification and drag himself up the ladder. I think it's going to be really tough.
Well, the other caveat to this as well is Peter Wright is fine for ET 11 and 12 because the cut-off for them is done. However, for ETs 13 and 14, the final two of the season, Peter Wright is in 16th spot as a seed. Unfortunately, Martin Schindler is only 11 grand behind him. Now, 11,000 over 2 Euro Tours, when Martin Schindler is notoriously good on Euro Tours, is easily doable. I'm not saying Peter could go and win one like he did last year. That's not beyond the realms. But at the moment, if he were to drop out of those seeding spots for the final 2 Euro Tours, again, like the World Grand Prix, he doesn't fall into the 16 the other side.
Yeah.
So he would then have to go to the qualifier and get through that to get to the Euro Tour. So there is a slim possibility that Peter Wright may not even be at the final 2 European Tours.
And I don't think there's going to be a big queue of people wanting to put their 50 pence on him getting through the qualifier either, the way he's playing at the minute.
They're tough to get through.
They're very, very hard. I mean, we saw one, we've just seen a qualifier, haven't we? And if you look at the players that came through that qualifier for the World Series of Darts finals, I mean, 1, 2, 5 of them, Peter Wright's not getting past, I don't think, at the minute.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have got through the 6th on that day because he played very, very well. But it's so you look at those qualifiers that have just come through for the World Series of Darts finals: Cam Menzies, Wessel Nyman, Luke Woodhouse, Joe Cullen, Gabriel Clemens, and Cord Decker. Like, at the moment, I know he's got a storied career, but again, you're a brave man if you put your 50 pence on Peter Wright coming through one of them qualifiers at the moment, because they're very, very tough. And, we're talking here about the amount of big names that are sat outside the qualification. That means they're the people you've got to get through in the qualifier. Like, that's harder because those players are serious players, and they're going to be, you are going to have to turn up at a qualifier, and you're going to find yourself coming up against Ricardo Petresco, a William O'Connor, a Richie Edhouse, players that have yes, they might not have found the consistency, but massive.
Well, look, at the moment, Peter Wright's in no danger of losing his tour card this year. On the tour card race, he's provisionally, World 26, but obviously he's always defending money because of the stature of he's in these events and legacy and so on. If the back end of this year doesn't go to plan and he misses out on the World Grand Prix and crashes early at the Worlds, does Peter Wright put himself through a potential unpleasant year of not qualifying for anything? And look, Peter Wright has got a glittering CV, will go down as one of the modern greats of the game. Does he put himself through a year of only playing on the Pro Tour, having to qualify for Euro Tours? Or do you think potentially we could see an early retirement from Peter Wright?
I think he'd be thinking it's a shame that seniors has gone.
Yeah.
He could have been the biggest draw they ever had, couldn't he? Like he could, like in reality, like that could have been the biggest. You know, he could be. But Peter Wright could be a big enough name to bring it back. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I think it's difficult, isn't it? And we've seen, you know, but we've seen players do it the hard way. You know, Raymond van Barneveld, you know, has done it the hard way. But sometimes it's tough. I think he must find it tough. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's just incredible. Maybe he's incredibly mentally strong. But I think a lot of players who had the career that Raymond has had, to be existing as he is on the tour now, you know, consistent. You know, we saw him in the match play. You know, qualified spot number 32 of 32. You know, we're looking right, you know, right in front of us at the World Grand Prix race, and he currently finds himself once again in qualification spot 32 of 32, and I think that's it must be incredibly difficult to keep turning, you know, to know that there isn't anything given. He's got to keep turning up on Pro Tours and winning games against players that are playing a lot better than he is at the moment, but there is an example there, you know, there is an example of someone who's dug in and done it in Raymond, and Peter may or may not look to that and think, well, I could see what he is doing and has done. Is that what I want from, you know, do I want to be fighting for qualification spot 32 of 32? Because that's probably where, you know, where we're heading, is I think probably where Raymond is at that spot currently. I don't know, because what I'm not sure, and we've seen players drop off the tour. We've seen big players drop off the tour, and probably not as big as Peter Wright in terms of the trophies they've lifted. But you know, we've seen the likes of Simon Whitlock. Simon Whitlock was a huge name in darts. He's had a huge career. You know, very distinctly look similar in many ways to Peter Wright. You know, we've seen him drop off the tour. We've seen him take advantage in part of other opportunities that are available. I don't know whether any of those opportunities that are currently available for non-tour card holders would have any interest to Peter at all.
No, I don't think so. Look, we all know that Joe was very, very unwell, and Peter's been unwell, and maybe just go and enjoy life instead of
instead
of chasing around the way you have for all these years, and
you would hope that
go and enjoy some time at home with the family, see the grandkids grow up, and
you'd like to think he could knock it on the head and enjoy a retirement.
100%. And look, some players might like it, but I find it quite a tough watch when I see greats of the sport. I'm not talking about darts, I'm talking about in general here. When I see greats of the sport rummaging around at the bottom end trying to do something, and do you know what I mean? I'm like, hang on a minute, I want to remember these sports stars as glittering, eye-catchy ones that I remember them.
And that's
I don't remember Tiger Woods not missing every fairway on the opening 18 and stuff like that. And
that's Barney at the minute, isn't it? Like you know, but Barney plays an event. Winter Garden is a good example. You know, everything's amazing until he gets onto the stage. Everyone enjoys the walk on because everyone remembers. It pulls everybody back. We get Eye the Tiger. Everything is orange. Everybody's up in the air. The atmosphere is amazing, and you think, yes, like this is where he came back. And this is what he's back for, and he's giving everybody this. And then the dart starts, and you think, oh, I don't know if I'm enjoying it. I don't know if I am enjoying it anymore. Oh, and it's. And that's the difficulty, is the fun stops when the darts starts, and darts shouldn't be. That's not what sports is supposed to be, is it? It's not. It can be a tough watch. And again, when you've had a career, not just a career where you've won things, but you have also entertained people in the way that Peter has. And I don't just mean jazzy trousers and funny haircuts. Like, I mean, the darts that he has played has been some of the best He is one of the most entertaining dart players ever. You know, like his highlight reel is just like unbelievably good. And that is just darts, not the pomp that goes around it. And yeah, it's do we want as fans to then see him, scraping around trying to be, qualification spot number 32 of 32. Warren makes a point as well, and there's a bit of that in, and I don't know, I'm not sure whether it is with John Park, because I've been lucky enough to speak to John, about his darts game, and I don't know how seriously he thinks the possibility of a return to a really competitive level on the tour he is. I mean, he often goes through the motions and we see it, but I don't know.
Well, you touched on like the highlight reel, the 2021 match play that Peter won is one of the best tournament performances I have ever witnessed.
Yep.
Where he's averaged 99 to beat Danny Knopp at 10-2, 105 to beat Joe Cullen 11-5, 100 to beat Michael Smith 16-7, 110 to beat Michael Van Gogh in 17-10.
That was a bonkers match, that.
And 105 to win the title. It was one of the best.
Yeah, and that's
runs
and
I've seen.
I sort of think, at that point, you don't owe anybody anything. You've provided all the entertainment. You've done more than 99.9% of people who'll ever pick a dart up could ever hope to do. So if you are at a point where you can go and be comfortable and enjoy, family life, then good on you. It's what I suppose it all comes down to what he wants, doesn't it? Some sportsmen can only be happy if they're doing their thing, can't they? Whether they're winning or losing.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, look, going back to the original point, that these next few weeks are very interesting for people at trying to get to the World Grand Prix.
Fascinating. It's very exciting.
So going back to that World Grand Prix, how far down are you still considering involved in the qualification?
Oh. Some of it depends on the names, don't it? What did you say? 3 Euro tours and a Pro Tour?
Three Euro tours and a block of 2 Pro Tours.
Kevin Dukes. Which puts me within 10 grand. Everybody within 10 grand has a shot. There you go.
And how far up are you saying is safe?
How far have I gone down? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ryan Joyce is safe. Because he's 10 grand above. 10 grand is my magic number. 10 grand's my magic number. Ryan Joyce is the first person that's 10 grand ahead of a chasing player. And Kevin Dukes is as far down as within 10 grand. So that's I've got a sort of, well, it's a 20 grand swing, isn't it? But I've got a 10 grand below and 10 grand above is where I'm at.
Yeah.
I know Joyce is not playing great. I just don't know that it needs 4 players.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
10 grand more than him. It's nothing to do with his current form at all. I can't see 4 players picking up 10 grand more than him with what's left to go at, especially because they're not all going to be at Euro Tours either.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think Joyce is playing particularly well, but it's are 4 going to jump him. I agree. It is the thing. Yeah, look, I'm interested. And look, we're also running out of time here. People forget that come the World Championship, that new prize money increase is in play, as Lendl said earlier, that things are about to change in darts when that comes in.
Well, they're going to change on the order of merit because there is a huge amount of pressure, because those that are defending money at the World Championships, they're sort of by proxy defending more because they're defending the money that they've already earned, But then as soon as you stop earning money, everyone else is earning more money than anyone ever has before. So you're almost, it's like it's a double swing. If you aren't defending your money and you go out early at the Worlds, like the pain is going to come thick and fast in terms of that order of merit drop, because not only is that money coming off your ranking, but you are going to see people pick up a couple of wins and fly past, because the money is just so much higher than it has been previously. And there's going to be huge jumps around in that order of merit. It's going to be a complete mash of players moving up and down. I don't know about a ladder. It needs to be a slide, I think. It'll be like snakes and ladders by the end of it.
It's going to be carnage, and I'm all for it.
100%. We manifest chaos on this show, don't we, mate? This is what we want. We want it to be carnage.
Look, whilst we're talking about this, the race for the World Championships, people have got to start looking at it now, because time is running out, and so on. And look, yes, I get there is a lot of money to play for, but where are you saying that is in green that you could say, I'm confident of booking a hotel in North London?
Oh, that's an interesting question, because there is a lot to happen still. The problem, what makes this ever so slightly easier, Phil, is whilst we are getting into big pot season, and there's lots of big pots to be had, a lot of these lads that are kicking around towards the bottom end of this qualification, they're not going to be in these tournaments looking for big pots, and it's going to have it's going to make fuck all difference to them who wins the Grand Prix and the European. Like in reality, it's going to make very little difference the runs that people go on in the Grand Prix and the European Championships at this end of the World Championship qualifying race. This is going to be ground out on Pro Tours. This is where,
that's why I've asked the question.
Yeah, this is where there's hard work to be done. Where do I think the line is set? Well, it's wider than all the others, because there's a lot still to go, but there's also a lot of shit underneath as well. Owen Bates is definitely safe. I think from Owen Bates down over, you run the risk if you're not picking up money regularly, and these lads are here because they're not picking up money regularly. If Owen Bates is safe, then Max Hopp has to be as well, because they're on the same amount of money, or maybe they're all not safe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I think that's generous.
And yeah, I was just thinking that's 10 spots.
I think that's generous.
10 spots is a lot, especially like who's underneath. Leon Webber can do some fucking damage. He's just done well that week. I'm not discounting Adam Hunt because he's from this part of the world. Same with Darryl Pilgrim, Andy Bolt. Right.
How many?
Tough that.
Right, I'll tell you how many Pro Tours are left. 6. There are 8 Pro Tours left.
That's not a lot either, is it?
8 Pro Tours and 4 European Tours.
That is not a lot, Philip, because some of these lads average the square root of fuck all as well from a Pro Tour in terms of a mean average. The difficulty with this, the real difficulty, is I can go down as far as probably spot number 65. Picking out individual people who I think could make it. But there's a lot who are ranked higher than them that I don't think have got a chance. Which I know is a bit weird, because I'm not playing the maths really. But Nathan Rafferty's $5,000 away. Do I think Nathan Rafferty has the potential to pick up $5,000 in 8 events? Yep. Yeah, he could do. But there's a lot of players in there that I think, probably not. Rob Owen can do damage. And he's only 2.5 away. But only so many people can pick up money at a Pro Tour. And there's some rather talented dart players that you've got to beat to get some money as well.
Yeah.
I think if you go to Chris Landman, you're within 2.5 grand. And I think if you keep if you're within 2.5 grand with 8 events, then you've got a chance, haven't you?
Yeah, 100%.
I think I'm happy going down there and being quite comfortable. And then looking underneath that, I would pick out a couple of individuals, probably Florian Hempel, Christian Kist, and Nathan Rafferty, who are within 5. That I think, it's not beyond the realms of possibility of them players picking up 5 grand over 8 events. But it's going to get tight, that. It's going to get very tight. And it's a big thing now because, round 1 money is big. Round 1 money could be your tour card. Well, it will be to some of these lads. Like, round 1 money will keep their tour card. And that is really what they've got 8 Pro Tours to play for. They've got 8 Pro Tours to earn their tour card.
Well, on that tour card, look, I know the tour card race itself, that the last block, Dylan Slevin got himself into the green. Look, only just, but look how much. Take that 15 grand off, he's a mile off. Keane Barry got himself to the World Championships, and all of a sudden he's on 93 grand.
Well, that's it. Florian Hempel picks up 4.5 grand for what is less than that. I think he picked 3.5 grand. Gets into the World Championships, and all of a sudden he's pissed his tour card, and he's outside of it. He's outside at the minute, but if he can just qualify for the Worlds, he's pissed it.
I don't think we're underselling this here at all. How big this new World Championship money is.
The problem are the players, of course, who have qualified for the World Championships, yet still sit outside of the tour card retaining rankings, because those lads are up against it big time. Because what more can you do? You've qualified for the Worlds, and these lads are going to have to pick up a couple of big stage wins in a very special venue if they're going to hold on to their cards. And some of them, I did not expect to be in this position at this point. Bradley Brooks, Sebastian Bielewski, Cam Crabtree, didn't expect those lads to be there at this point in time. Oh, no, they're the first year ones, aren't they?
Yeah, they're first year, yeah.
Apologies, they are the first year ones. So, yeah, I've got the wrong colour on.
I don't think we can underestimate how big this World Championship change and money is. I really don't.
Massive.
Also, the favourite tournament of everyone's year, the draw was done today. The World Series of Darts final. I don't see too many shocks in round 1. I know we'll look at it more next week, but the draw's been fairly kind, I think.
Yeah, there's not too much. I think there's a couple of interesting games in there. I think Rob Cross is desperately in need of a win, and has been. And again, with the greatest of respect to Hao Pai Puha, he's one of the. It's one of the more winnable games. So I think the draw's been, fairly kind to Rob Cross. I think the draw's been far less kind to Michael van Gerwen. I think Michael van Gerwen against Wessel Nijman is some opening game. I think the Americans how can feel hard done by. Very, very much so. I think we talk an awful lot about the growth of the game in America, and then we fucking do that to them. Like as soon as they, we put the two Americans against the two Welsh lads, and they're going to have to play Johnny and Gezi, which I think is a tough one. Aspinall against Chizzy's interesting because it hasn't got much of an international World Series flavour about it. An all English first round clash. I don't like to see all English first round clashes at the World Series because it doesn't feel very worldly. Chris Dobie, Luke Woodhouse, I'm not happy about. Cordecker against Barney's interesting. I don't dislike the draw. I think there's some interesting games in there, especially if you sort of, like you say, we'll do a bit more next week. I'm here, aren't I? Yeah, it's the week after. I had to think there. I know I'm missing a week coming up soon. So we will get into it more next week. But I think there's potential there for some really interesting second round matches. I think once you play through those first rounds, I think the bracket is actually quite nice, and we'll see some interesting second round games, and then later in the tournament we'll see what we always see. We'll see Premier League players at the end.
It's another Premier League night in September.
Correct.
Where was it? Paul asked, where was it? If Bo goes to Ali Pali, how much for her to get in the top 64? So this is with the World Championship and the Grand Slam money. She's on 28 grand. So she's still 50, best part of 50 grand off of the top 64. But I think Bo picks. And I'd be amazed if Bo went to Lakeside.
Just a quick one, Malachy. It's 80 is the prize for the winner for the World Series of Darts finals. £80,000 for the winner, 40 grand for the runner-up, 5 grand for turning up.
Does Bo get a tour card?
Yep.
I would be surprised if she doesn't.
Yep, 100%.
She is
because she's also going to she's going to qualify for the Worlds and the Slam, which will money that will go on. I'm not even convinced that she'll need to go to Q school.
No, she should get through the dev. She's top of the dev tour.
Exactly. Yeah, she's pissed. She's got she could have 4. Like I think she could get there through all the ways you can get. I think she'll probably earn enough money to get one anyway. She will definitely get one from the dev tour, and she could probably turn up to Q school and get one as well.
The other one as well that obviously we need to keep an eye on now as well is Bo winning that, or it's top 2 in the dev tour, because if then her slam place would then go to the women's series.
Good.
Currently, it would go to Fallon. If she stays in those positions,
won't be upset about that.
Well, it'd be nice to have 3 ladies at the Grand Slam as well.
Correct.
Obviously, Lisa's there for winning the match play. Bo from the dev tour, and then that place then going down.
100%. Yeah, I think. I mean, yeah, it's a bit rogue, the qualification, as we know. It's not what it was. It's a bit cobbled together. So creating more opportunities for the female players to pick up an extra few quid, earn a payday, play on the telly, get some extra sponsorships, charge more for exhibitions, etc., etc. It's a good thing.
Yeah. Now, obviously, I didn't see any of the Welsh Open from Somerset at the weekend because I was covering the Euro Tour. I saw bits on social, and again, like the Six Nations, I've got to say the staging, the camera, and so on. Camera work was all very, very good.
Yeah, it looked impressive. Similar to you. I mean, if I'm honest, I think most of most of what I have seen of it has come through social media. If I'm honest, just because my life is busy at the minute. It is everything that I can do to carve myself 2 hours on a Monday to be here. So yeah, I didn't get to watch it live, and I didn't really get to follow a lot of what was going on. But I did follow quite a bit of it on social media, primarily because Richard Rowlands did. So obviously, like we've met Richard quite a bit with the seniors, and we've got quite a few pals in common. So it was I was very, very pleased. Like, Richard's a really, really nice fella. I mean, lucky enough to spend quite a bit of time with him. He's a really good bloke. So I was very, very pleased to see that news. I think it looked like positives all round, in terms of, generally people I like to see do well, did well. We've got some outstanding performances from younger players. The event looked very well put together. It looked like a very, very positive weekend.
Now, again, someone's going to have to tell me in the chat room, because I didn't see all of it, because I was obviously streaming with you guys for the Euro Tour. Was all the commentary in Welsh, or was some of it in English as well? Because every clip I seem to see on social seemed to be in Welsh.
Was it really?
No, that's what I'm asking. I don't know if all of it was, but every clip that I seem to open on Twitter or so on.
Were you just talking to Carwin? Is that how you were?
None of the commentary was in Welsh. I don't know what I was watching then. Every clip that I opened on Twitter, they were talking Welsh.
You've been following Carwin. We've got an international flavour. We've got a Welsh speaker on the team. Carwin can do you. He can speak fluent Welsh.
Yeah,
language, I believe.
It had both. I'd say I say, because I was streaming the Euro Tour, I didn't. Every clip that I seemed to open, they were, and I do know a bit of Welsh. Bonadash, am I?
Good on him. Oh, it's marvellous news. That's excellent.
Been hanging around. I tell you what, watching Johnny Clayton speaking Welsh.
I tell you what, there'd have been some fucking blank-faced barman in Western Supermare and a lot of people asking for a pint in Welsh. Fucking hell.
Honestly, Johnny Clayton is fluent in Welsh. It's incredible. But no, it's good. Like I say, it looked good. And look, I don't know what those production costs were for the weekend, but
money well spent.
What's that?
Money well spent, I think.
100%. I can't say anything other. But if you're looking at, that's the production for the Welsh Open, and I'm not belittling about Welsh Open here, but if one of your lower tournaments has set that bar, your main tournaments have to now hit that.
Correct. Yeah, I want multilingual comms on across the board. No, I 100%. Yeah, I think, but again, it's just a good thing for darts, isn't it? Like the better that
it looked incredible.
But you're right. But this is what happens. Like it's right across the board and we see it in press rooms, don't we? Like somebody starts to do something in a certain way and it looks really good and people pay attention to it, and all of a sudden other people have to keep up in some way, or they've got to do their own thing, or they've got to keep pace with it a little bit. And I just think that it's a good thing. The more that everybody keeps striving to be better, and others will try and keep pace. They won't always get it right, but that's not the most important thing. It's to keep trying to improve things and get better. And yeah, I think it's really positive.
Yeah, no, like I say, I thought it looked. Like I say, didn't watch it because obviously the Euro Tour, but the bits I saw on social looked very, very good. So look, kudos to the people running the Welsh. It looked very, very good. Modus Super Series. I saw congratulations to Team Ireland. Again, didn't watch it live, but it was all over social. The Irish, Conor Heenahan and the Joker, John O'Shea, with the title. Again, couldn't be happier for that. One, because I had a financial investment in it, because the bookies' price on them was criminal.
Yeah.
Absolute criminal. But the fact I really like both of them as well.
Yeah, it's a top team, innit? It's a top team of good fellas, and again, it's one of them where if you don't enjoy them winning something, like yes, they might have beat your team, but like how much of a darts fan are you if you don't enjoy watching them two win something? It's really good, really good news. I think there's a lot. We're probably going to have to talk about it because it's doing a lot in the chat room. That I think that people have got far too invested in what they expected to see from a man who hasn't thrown a competitive dart in a very, very long time. And I think that people need to not be disappointed in what they saw from Adrian Lewis.
There were spells of brilliance.
Yeah, but I just don't know what people expected, Phil. Like, I mean, I know people like to, there's a romantic, like, there is, and what you can see where there was spells, it's that naturalness that he has, isn't it? That natural ability of just that beautiful throw that when it's on, it's glorious to watch. But I don't think anyone should be surprised and thinking that it's somehow a big shock that, like, the man hasn't thrown a competitive dart for about 2 years, and he's clearly, like, let's be honest, if he's turned up to Q School, giving it the big one, then by all means, like, give him a bit, but give him a bit, get stuck in a bit, bring him back down to earth if he needs that. But I think that he's gone and played a doubles event with somebody he knows very well in an environment that force a player like Adrian Lewis, and this is with the very greatest of respect to the folks down in Portsmouth, like it's not a big event for him compared, thinking of what he's done in his career. He's clearly easing himself back into doing anything at all. It's a non-story, and it frustrates me a bit that it's got any traction whatsoever, especially as wide and as arguably, I mean, they're not, they're shit, but arguably, serious people that comment on darts, and the wank I've seen on social media is it's just arse, isn't it? People putting stuff on because they know if they put Adrian Lewis's name on, some idiot will click it.
Well, like I say, it was great to see Adrian back playing.
I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. I was over the moon to watch it. I loved it, but manage your expectations for fuck's sake.
100%. But I'm still not, having watched it, I'm still not convinced he ever plays professionally again. I'm not sure, just watching it, that desire burns in there anymore. I think he is so happy and content with life, doing what he's doing, that I don't think that desire to go back into that snake pit environment is there. And I'm not sure, and I'm not sure it ever will be.
It was some time ago. In fact, it was probably around, it wasn't far off this time, maybe a bit later in the year last year when we spoke to him in Whitby, didn't we? And that was sort of where he seemed to be, that's sort of where he seemed to be at the time. And I'm not convinced that anything's probably changed. I think he's enjoyed chucking at that with his mate, and he's done a bit. He's got on stage, bit of fun, isn't it? He's played darts a big part of his life for a long time. Whether or not he has the appetite to come, I mean, don't get me wrong. I know I spoke. I'm probably making myself a clown and contradicting myself because we spoke earlier about the, Raymond van Barneveld come back and Peter Wright trying to, will he retain on, slogging it out to try and qualify for things on the Pro Tour. But is there a part of me that would love just to see one last go of Adrian Lewis when he really wants it and he's in the right frame of mind? Well, yeah, God, who wouldn't? That'd be mint. But I sort of made me peace with the fact that I don't think we're going to get it.
No, I completely agree. And Chris asked, was he on too late? No, I don't think so. Look, as the organisers, you want to give them the best chance to qualify for finals night. I know they didn't in the end, but Group B is their best route to get them to finals night. So, no, I think it was okay. But yeah, it was just I just loved seeing him back. It was good.
Correct. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, brilliant to see.
Also, well, fair play to Dawson Michelle as well. First time he's thrown competitive darts in 6 years, I think, which was good to see him back as well. Because again, I remember watching him in Vegas when he beat James Wade out of absolutely nowhere.
Well, I knew you'd remember that.
I don't know what you're on about.
You celebrate, an annual celebration of the anniversary, don't you?
Oh, to be fair, I was there as a fan.
We raise a glass to it once a year, don't it?
It was great to see him back playing as well, which was good. No, I enjoyed the bits I saw, but congratulations to John O'Shea and Connor Heenahan. Great to see them back. Have we missed anything else in a week of darts? I think we pretty much got. Have we missed anything?
If we have, then it's probably something I don't know about. So it's probably best we don't cover it anyway. Because we've certainly maxed out everything I've got in my head. Anything else, you're going to get a blank face, I'm afraid.
Well, we are now in September. We have now entered the best 4 months of the year.
It's exciting, isn't it? It's exciting for me.
100%. It's been great.
Even though I'm nearly having a week off.
Yes,
we've just had 2 weeks off, and I've completely took the piss and stuck another one in just for fun.
But mind you, I did like the way you buttered Mrs. Simpson up first. Some great technique in there, I've got to say.
It's unbelievable. It remains contentious in this house mind trip. It's a difficult sell it's a difficult sell to the wife and kids. I'm off on a long haul flight. I'll see you in a bit.
Dad's off to the sun. See you.
Yeah, dad's off to the sun.
But I did like the. Go on, you go and book yourself away.
Yeah, I had a lovely weekend last weekend. They went to York. Oh, it was great. Lovely York. It's not quite the Atlantis in Dubai, is it? But it's like, it doesn't quite match up there. It's done me again. I booked. I had to book holiday yesterday. Just like it's killing me. Just because out of guilt, I booked something for next year yesterday just to try and keep the peace.
Where are you off to?
Oh, I booked a week in the lakes early part of next year.
Have you mentioned
the launch by Windermere?
Have you put in the calendar or mentioned yet the words mine and head? Not in there yet.
I'll tackle that one when I fly back from Dubai.
Is that when you're just going to try and slide in there?
There'll be a crisis that comes up. I'll be needed. You may have to. What's that video? Where somebody sticks their phone charger up their nose and sends the photo. Like Phil might be in hospital. He's rigged up to the machines.
Needs me to go and rescue him.
I have to go to Minehead. I'm on the way, Phil. Don't worry.
No, I agree. Comebacks are always tricky. I agree. We haven't done a damn good question time for a while.
Yeah, we got 10 minutes. Question number one, Phil Bowers. It's September. Is your Christmas tree up yet?
Christmas tree's not up yet. However, I can confirm.
Is it down at the loft? It's there.
and the WhatsApp chat will agree that preparations are in hand.
I knew they would be.
For this year's decorations, what I think I can get away with putting up and what I can't.
Yeah.
But no, for the Christmas streams in here, don't worry, there will be a Christmas tree and Christmas decorations. Part of me wants to go full 90s as well with the old school.
Oh, foil.
With the old school streamers from the ceiling.
Yes, yeah, like the foil streams. Oh, like I used to have.
Proper go old school 90s.
Yes, blue tack to the Artex ceiling, but all that. Like, yes, very, very nice. Very nice. We need to get some. We'll get some baubles printed. We'll get some online darts Christmas baubles. We'll figure them out.
Don't worry, I've already got it in hand. The nice layout that you see on screen now, we are going to have tinsel around our little boxes and things like that as well.
Yes.
We are going full into it. Will MVG make Minehead? That's a good question.
He's got more chance than me.
I don't think he is. And the reason I say that is I'm not sure how many of the Pro Tour, the last 8 Pro Tours he plays.
Yeah, that is the problem. Is it's going to be how many that he comes and plays, and then when he does come and play, like he's not on the line, like he's 10 grand away.
Look, that's one good run, but it's having that good run, and it's 2 playing enough to get there. If he were to play in, if we could guarantee he was going to play in all 8 of those Pro Tours, I would say yes, I think he makes it. But I don't think he plays in all 8 is the issue.
Yeah, and then you're just reducing the amount of chances, and you're banking on a 1 or 2 very good runs, and they have evaded him somewhat this year, haven't they?
Correct.
Which is why he is where he is.
Correct, and that's my worry is that he does. If he would say I'm going to play in all 8, I think he makes it. But the fact that I think he might only play in 4 of the 8 is the concern. So Dev Tour will be next weekend. Cool, Bob. Cool. Said it all year. No chance. I'd love to see Lakeside properly televised. I don't think it'll ever happen that they might get Lakeside on a TV channel the back end of the tournament, but I don't see it ever being completely televised like it used to be. But having said that, there's nothing wrong with having it on YouTube and being streamed properly if the production is properly.
Correct, 100%. Everyone's telly's
there's nothing wrong with it only being on YouTube if the production is up there.
Yep. Everyone's telly's got YouTube. If you've got if you're on YouTube, everyone can watch it on their TV for free. But you do just need the production to be good enough that will make people watch it for longer than 10 minutes and not get pissed off with it.
Correct. Like I say, if the production's good, there's nothing wrong with it having it on YouTube only. Nothing wrong with that at all. But the production has to be up there. I'm interested to see if certain players qualify for Lakeside and the ADC Global, which one they pick, because the ADC Global, as far as we know, is more prize money. I say as far as we know because they haven't released what the Lakeside prize money is yet. But based on the last 2 years, it will be. So if you are a serious, or if you believe you're a serious title threat, which one do you pick? Do you pick more money? I'm interested to see. It could be easier. Never had to have Lakeside. Like I say, I've got no issue with it just being on YouTube, but the production has to be good.
Yep.
And bear in mind, this isn't just Lakeside. This is other darts events that have been on. If the production's been shit, I've turned off. Correct. It is the thing. The production has to be good.
Especially if you are watching it in a way that's not just like, cowered over your phone where you're just sort of like following the action. But, if you're gonna stick it on your telly, on your big telly in your front room, and then you want to see a television level production. Like, you don't want to look like, it shouldn't look like it's been filmed on a potato by a bloke who's live streaming.
Yeah. Mark asks, any of the big boys skipping Hildesheim Pro Tours next week? I think some of them are.
One in particular will be. What with its location being somewhere between, nestled in between France, Germany, and Austria. France, Belgium, and Austria.
I can pretty much guarantee someone that wears purple and yellow won't be there.
Yeah.
I think a few of them will miss it because it's straight to the Amsterdam for the World Series finals after as well. So, yeah, I'm expecting some of them to skip. Where were we? They would need to stop adverts at important moments. you can manage that, Matt. In the back end of YouTube, you can manage your adverts, and you can do it manually. It means that someone would have to be there at the end of the game. So you've got your YouTube back end where your streaming bit is. You can say insert ad now. Yeah. So it's a job for someone to do, but that can be done. Where last year it was just set to manual, and then YouTube put them in when they want. That's what that was, Matt. So it's a job that someone would have to do, but it is doable. The same as you, Johnny. The control, that they can do it, but it's a manual job for someone. Rob, what's the ADC format there? I'm not sure what the format is, but if you are a serious player, as in if you think you are going to win that title, you will back yourself, and if the money's bigger, you'll go that option.
Big pot of money, isn't it?
Correct. I don't think the format matters. I think it's, are you backing yourself to win the big pot? S4 production for YouTube, for WWF YouTube would work. 100%, Rob. If they got the guys that did the Welsh Open and the Six Nations, that would be more than good enough. 100%. Yeah. Look, again, I don't know what that costs, but that if they got them to do it, would it be 100%? Rob says the seniors was crap. Yeah, that's what I mean. If the production, like I was always at the seniors event, so I didn't have to watch it on TV. But like you say, production is everything. Where were we? So I like this. The guy did the interviews on the stage. For that. Well, was it? The ADC first prize is 60 grand, where Lakeside was only 50 last year and the year before. And I'm interested to see, look, from the last year, Lakeside went down in prize money. Do I expect it to go down again? Possibly. I certainly don't expect it to go.
I don't expect it to go up.
No. So if it goes down again, then I know there was a lot of stick thrown around last year because the prize pot went down. Look, that happens. If the money's not there, the money's not there. But they kept the top prizes the same, and the first round prize didn't even cover some of the players' flights and hotels.
Round of drinks.
So it was like, if that prize pot goes down again, for me, you have to cut the top prize. The bottom end has to be good enough to want players to go. For me. But yeah, the ADC top prize is 60K. Can you put a deal sheet in for the live stream so it lasts another 2 hours? I like that idea, Rob. The deal sheet goes in. The only issue is Mrs. Simpson's got to sign it off.
Yeah, and she ain't signing out tonight. The kids are back at school in the morning. and by the sounds of things, while I've been on this stream, preparations have not gone to plan.
George, how are we doing? Yeah, the 12th of June. What a date that is, Rob. Here we go. To be fair, I'm not going to spill the beans, but I was having a chat with one of the manufacturers a couple of weeks ago, and I don't know, I think it'll be next year, but they've got a really cool idea, which I like. Which will be good. I tell you what, you guys have absolutely rocked it today. You really have.
Busy all night, isn't it?
Paul, the honest answer is I don't know because I haven't seen the prize breakdown. So I don't know when and where people are coming in. I guess that the way they plan it, a bit like this, the international pairs and so on, and the way Chris Murphy spoke about it on here last week, that if they've got people coming internationally, they normally tag it on to a week in the Super Series. So they plan it like that. So Alex Spellman and Jason Brandon, they played in the international pairs and they've played in the Super Series this week. So again, it wouldn't surprise me if it was worked around that. But remember, this will be available as an audio only in the morning. So you can check that out wherever you get your podcasts from, or you can watch it back as always. If you haven't, make sure you drop us a like and subscribe, because we massively appreciate the support, especially the Euro Tour was incredible this week. We will be back live 12 on Friday. Also, we will be doing a live stream, a chat and chuck from here. I'm just waiting on the participant to confirm with me what day we are going to do it. So, but keep your eyes tuned for that. But everyone, you have absolutely rocked it tonight. I've been Phil Bars, Dan Simpson. We have been the Live Lounge, and we'll see you all very, very soon.